thought I'd ask that because it's interesting we've now got a sixth manager and
Yeah, sixth manager it is. Yeah,
we'll see.
Absolute madness. I mean, welcome to Birmingham City. I mean, we are the club of chaos. It seems, isn't it?
I saw this. Just saw somebody posted. I think it was on one of the social media. Where Birmingham City, the club where Manager of the Month is actually a job title, not an award.
So welcome back to Small Heath Alliance FC. And on Tuesday evening, Birmingham City released that infamous image saying club statement. And they shared with us that Tony Mowbray is going to be taking an extended leave of sickness, which will take him up into the summertime and the pre-season. And Mark Venus is going to be joining him as well. But that means we've brought in an interim manager in Gary Rowett to oversee the final 8 games. And at the time of recording, Birmingham City are one place out of the relegation zone and we're only kept out of there on a goal difference only. So that's 6 managers this season for Birmingham City, which seems to be on the merry-go-round of chaos around the club. But would we have it any other way as Blues fans? But let's get into it. And Dad, I'm going to ask the question straight to you. What do you think Gary Rowett's going to provide us? And do you think he can keep us up this season?
So before we start, clearly we want to wish Tony Mowbray a speedy recovery, and in a way, I'm quite pleased for Tony that this has happened for him because I think a lot of Blues fans were very keen to get him back, and maybe he would have been feeling the pressure based upon the results we've been having. So now Tony's got a proper leave of absence that now allows him not even to worry about anything. He can just get himself well and. We'll see him again at the start of next season when he's fit and well and healthy. So, as always, Tony, we're wishing you well, wishing you a speedy recovery, and we do look forward to seeing you back at the Blues for the start of the following season.
Yeah. Can I just jump in as well and just give a thank you to Mark Venus? Because Mark Venus is going to be taking an absence and coming back when Tony comes in as well, but for obviously very different reasons. But I feel like he's looked like a man, I don't want to say out of his depth because that seems negative, but he's clearly, it's taken its toll on him over these past few weeks and months. And, he never wanted to be in this position. He stepped up, almost helping a friend, who's sick. And I feel really sorry for Mark Venus. He's done the best he can in this scenario. He's an assistant manager. He's not a manager. But I just want to put that out there that I'm very grateful to Mark Venus and I want to wish him all the best as well. And I hope he gets a nice recharge and refresh and comes back with all the energy for the next season as well.
Yeah, that's worth mentioning as well, Matt, isn't it? Mark didn't really ever want to be in that position and he's done his very best. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Results haven't panned out how any of us wanted, but you can't deny the amount of effort and commitment from Mark Venus. And we do, Mark, we thank you very much as well for what you've done for us so far as well. I look forward to seeing you back with Tony at the start of next season.
Absolutely.
But going on to Gary Rowett now, and it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because he really was a fan's favourite, Gary Rowett. I know that there was some speculation towards his latter months of other clubs being interested in him touting himself for other clubs, but as a manager, he did a really good job in really difficult circumstances for Blues. So seeing that he's coming back in, I think is a really good appointment for the 8 games that we do have, and he will stabilise the club. Now, one thing I know that he will do is he will definitely tighten us up at the back. He did that last time. In fact, actually, I don't even remember when he was appointed last time in 2014. We'd just come off the result, the 8-0 home defeat to Bournemouth. And he came in, and on his first game, we drew 0-0 at Wolves. Yeah. And we've been saying all season, haven't we, in this on our various post-match podcasts and actually throughout other podcasts as well, that we concede too many goals and we can't keep clean sheets. So if nothing else, we know for a fact that he'll tighten us up at the back, which we really, really need. So that's a good positive start, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And just on a more casual note, the thing I remember about Gary Rowett as a Blues player was actually in that auto window screens top that you've got on the side of your there. I remember him playing in that top. That was the last time I remember him, because I was a young kid at that point, but him being in a blue shirt as a player. And I think Gary Rowett has a connection with the club. He was a player, he was a manager. I think he gets the Blues fans. He gets us as a club. He gets what we're about. And I think as far as a safe pair of hands goes, Gary Rowett is safe as it gets, really. And I've been looking at social media today because I like to read the room on what people are thinking. And it's like 90% positive. I think a lot of Blues fans are very happy with this decision and this appointment. And there's 10% out there who are saying, his style of football is possibly a little bit bland or defensive. However, that's exactly what we need right now. We need someone to stop the rot. We need someone like Gary Rowett who's going to not park the bus, but he's going to make us compact a little bit more and harder to play against, harder to break down. Because we've been easy to play against, haven't we? We've been leaking goals. And fair enough, you can't put individual player mistakes on the manager, but there's still a air of we look shaky at the back a lot of the time, whereas I think Rowett's going to come in immediately and stable that ship. And what a better place to do it, first game, QPR away, big game. In fact, if you look at our 8 games, just to rattle them off quickly, QPR at home, QPR away, Preston at home, Leicester away, Cardiff at home, Coventry at home, Rotherham away, Huddersfield away, and Norwich at home. I mean, if there's ever a passage of fire for a new manager to come in, I think that's it. But I'm happy that Tony Mowbray is now going to get the rest that he needs and he's not going to rush himself back. And I think as far as an interim manager goes, Rowett is a very safe pair of hands.
Yeah, totally. And I think he's a type of manager that will motivate the players and stabilise them in as much as give them the confidence to particularly defend. Let's be honest, we're not going to see tippy-tappy attractive football. He's not known for that. And to be honest, where we are now, we don't want it.
Well, we've had it and it's failed.
Yeah, do you know what? I hope
we've tried it.
I don't care if we stay up and what I'm watching is really dull, negative defensive football where we sneak a goal here and there, because for now the reality is it literally is about staying up, getting enough points to stay. I'd like to see some attractive football, don't get me wrong, of course I would, but if that's what we have to sacrifice to get the results, just to give us enough points to stay up, I think we will. I'll be looking at his stats as well. Obviously we prep a little bit for these videos, and I've been looking into him in a little bit of detail, and if you look at all the teams that he's managed Burton Albion, Birmingham City, Derby, Stoke and Millwall. In most of those teams, he's got an average points per game of 1.5 on average in virtually all of those teams, round about that area in all those games. And obviously, he had a lot of games at Millwall, 196 with an average points per match of 1.45. So if we can get 1.5 points per match out of the next 8, that'll be 12 points. That'll give us 51, which I believe will be high enough to keep us up.
Yeah.
But of course, that we don't know what the threshold is because there's so many teams close around us as well with similar points.
And Rowett is used to going into clubs where he doesn't have much resource or much money or much fancy stuff to work with. So I think when he comes into Blues, obviously the transfer market's closed. We've got the team that we're settled with. We've also got a team that was, again, we've said this a lot on the podcast, it's Eustace's team. And Eustace, in terms of style, is a lot closer to Gary Rowett than any of the other managers who have came in. I'd say if you're going to have a manager who suits the players that we have, or who are used to being on the back foot a little bit, who are used to having out of possession a little bit more, this is the team and this is the manager. I think, in theory, this should fit like a glove, just moving forward for these 8 games. My only one concern, and this isn't necessarily to do with Gary Rowett, but when a manager comes in, they like to experiment, don't they, and test players in positions and test formations and see what works. We've got 8 games left and we're starting with QPR away. He hasn't got that time to do that experimenting. He hasn't got that time to test what he wants or what players he needs. So I really hope, because we've got the international break now at the time of recording, we're not at QPR until Good Friday which is next Friday. So he has got a decent amount of time on the training ground to try some stuff, to test some stuff, and that's my only concern, is just the amount of time he has to get the team he wants and settle the ship. But he's a good manager. He's been at Birmingham before. He gets us. I think he'll be absolutely fine, and I think I'm a lot more optimistic with Gary Rowett at the driver's seat than I would be with Mark Vina seeing us through to the end of the season, just being honest. And me and you, Dad, have spoken. In fact, if you're a fan of this channel or watch our videos, we did a video last week about an interim manager, and we both said that we were pretty much quite strongly against it, weren't we? But now it's happened. Now Mowbray gets the time to rest. Now Mark Venus is having that time off and Gary Rowett is here. I actually don't think this is a bad move, and I think actually he's exactly what we need at this time, really, to stable that ship.
Yeah, I think I don't think he will try and experiment with the team. I don't. I think he'll have a fixed view of what he's going to do. I mean, we can pretty much guess he's going to play 4-2-3-1. We're going to end up with a very defensive setup, maybe with one up. So maybe
4-4-2. I think Rowett's a fan of 4-4.
Yeah, but with Millwall, it was 4-2-3-1. But it was always very defensively set up, because he sets up his midfield to be very defensive as well. So even though he might look 4-2-3-1, sounds a little bit attacking, it's always don't concede first and then try and score goals, which is exactly what we need at the moment.
Yeah.
So I think that is what will happen. And something else I think is really impressive as well. Once again, I'm really impressed with Tom Wagner and Knighthead and Gary Cook in the way that they've acted, because they could have easily left this and said, well, you know what, the club have had already had 5 managers, if you include the interim manager already prior to Gary Rowett. We are where we are now. We're going to see it through to the end of the season, but they've not. They've sort of And from what I've read as well from their statement, that Tony was in consultation with them about this as well. So that's good.
Yeah.
So they've
It
involved him as well.
it sounded like he had an input into Gary Rowett. Well,
Yes.
it was worded in a way that Tony Mowbray almost gave his seal of approval for Gary Rowett. And now, I'm not saying Tony Mowbray had the decision here, but I think he had his buy-in. And to me, this seemed like a decision based on compassion and integrity. And, and it's easy to compare this to the Eustace and the Rooney scenario, because we all know what happened there. A lot of Blues fans were disappointed with the way that was communicated, with the way that went down. It seems like they've done this in a much more levelled, compassionate way towards Tony, got him involved. Seems like we've got his sign off for this. And as you say, when I read that statement, I didn't feel bitter about Tony Mowbray in terms of like maybe he would feel a resentment about it. And it feels to me like the club, as I say, have made the right decision here.
I think they've done it in a respectful way.
Respectful. That's the word
I think that a lot of people that are commenting on the appointment, I've heard the word disrespectful mentioned by a few people, thinking that, well, Tony's our manager. But actually, when you read the club statement and you get to the bottom of it, they've actually brought him along by the looks of it. So he's fully aware, and he was part of the process, which is really good. I also feel as well, the appointment of Gary Rowett as well is almost like our opportunity to right a wrong. I know they had this karma thing about, well, actually, he should never have been sacked in the first place. And it's exactly the same, situation with replacing Eustace with Rooney. Well, Rowett was replaced with Zola on the basis that they wanted to play some more attractive football, but never have the players. So it's deja vu, big time, isn't it? But this is our opportunity now. And our opportunity as Blues fans as well to get behind Gary Rowett and actually maybe give him the thanks that he deserves, that we never had the opportunity to, because he was just sacked quite suddenly, wasn't he?
We'll just forget the fact he called us a W word at the Stoke away game a couple of years back.
Well,
a couple of Blues fans mentioned that, and it really made me laugh. And then another Blues fan mentioned, going, but we are this sometimes, and everyone's going, we are. There was quite a bit of banter going back and forth on social media today about that incident, which was quite funny. But
put yourself in his shoes, in the circumstances, But I'm sure, like, people in them circumstances.
And Blues fans love winding people up. It's just in our DNA, isn't it? We always give.
If anything, that'd probably give you more respect from the Blues fans for doing that than probably not, because that's the type of fans we are. We just like a bit of banter and stuff like that. But overall, and just to really answer your question, just to conclude from me, I think it's a good appointment. I think he's exactly what we need at this point in time. And I think he will keep us up. I think he will. He's got the experience of the Championship. He's an experienced manager that's been in the Championship for many, many years. He knows his way around the Championship. He'll know what we need to do, and I think he'll make it very clear to the players what they need to do as well. And big thing for me, as I've mentioned, he will make us very much more compact at the back, which has been our Achilles heel all season. So for me, very good appointment, and I'm pretty confident he'll be able to get us the points we need to stay in the Championship.
I couldn't possibly have said it better myself. I completely agree, and I like the fact he gets us. He knows the club, he knows the Championship, and he's the kind of manager now which is going to make us more compact, more difficult to break down, which is what we need, because we're too easy to score against. We're too easy to beat, especially at home at the moment. So we need someone like him to come in. And what I like, again, just to make it a little bit more casual again, on social media, someone posted a video of him in 2014 to 16, and he was outside the front of the stadium, St.Andrews, when the players go in before the game, and he was signing autographs and taking pictures. And
I've seen it.
And someone said something about the Villa games or the Derby games. He's like, I've watched the Blues Villa games back about 10 times. During that period that we had in the mid-2000s where we had a really good spell against Villa over the years, he was like, I love those videos. I keep watching them back and stuff. So there was just a connection with the fans there. I think people appreciated Rowett, people appreciated his passion and his love for Blues. So I hope that comes through, and I hope we get the chance to pay our gratitude and respect back, and I hope we get St Andrews rocking. I hope we make it a fortress for these remaining games.
Let me ask you one final question, which is linked to this very, very quickly. Do you think that his appointment opens the door for Scott Hogan, for Oliver Burke, and for Longelo, who have not been featured in the team?
If I'm going to be brutally honest, I really hope not. I think those are the kind of players we need to avoid if we're in this relegation battle. I don't know whether you've noticed this, but every time a new manager comes in, they always start Hogan in their first game. Rooney's done it. Even Mowbray done it, I believe. In his first game, he started Hogan. So I really hope I don't see... No disrespect, Hogan's a Blues player, and we don't like talking bad, but I really hope he's not on that starting sheet.
Well, Yuki's injured now, so that may open the door for somebody like him. It depends on what style and how he wants to play. But I just thought I'd ask the question, because I suppose if you're one of those players, you might think, hang on, we've got a new manager here.
But that comes back to your... Because you mentioned your statement earlier that he's going to hit the ground running, and he probably has a good understanding of the team, and he knows how we work. If he knows how we work and who our players are, he would know not to play Burke and Longelo, if I'm just being honest here. Burke especially, come on. I mean, what has he offered going forward? I mean, imagine if we see QPR, Burke, Longelo and Hogan are starting. We'd soon press the panic button, wouldn't we? But, I mean, what do you think on that?
I'm not sure because I think that that he may call upon, I think maybe out of those three, probably Hogan, if there's a need for an additional striker, because that's where we're lacking really. We're seriously short up front.
I know.
Seriously short, and obviously now with Yukin not an option off the bench, I think if any of those three players are going to get a possible shout, it's going to be Hogan, in my opinion.
Well, if any of those three players were in for a shout, I would want it to be Hogan out of Longelo, Burke, and Hogan. But,
but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I just thought I'd ask that because it's interesting. We've now got a sixth manager, and
sixth manager it is. Yeah,
we'll see.
Absolute madness. I mean, welcome to Birmingham City. I mean, we are the club of chaos. It seems, isn't it?
I saw this. Just saw somebody posted. I think it was on one of the social media. You know, where Birmingham City, the club where Manager of the Month is actually a job title, not an award.
Yeah. And apparently, since Eustace left, we've had just as many managers as league wins.
Yeah, and if you want to do silly stats, you know, we've here's a silly stat as well. We've had, we've got six managers and just 3 away wins. So we've actually got twice as many managers as we have away wins. So you could talk all day, couldn't you, about different facts? But
silly stats.
It has been a wild season, hasn't it? Really, for managers, unprecedented. I've never known nothing like it.
I mean, we're putting Watford to shame at the moment, aren't we? And that's a feat. That's an impressive.
There's got to be a record somewhere in this. Not a good one, but a record.
No. It really has been a chaotic season. So far. Let's not hope we get a seventh manager.
Well, there's still plenty of time.
Absolutely. What do you think, Blues fans? Were you surprised at the announcement on Tuesday evening? Are you happy with the news of Gary Rowett? Do you think we need an interim manager just to get us over the line for the remainder of the season? And I'm sure all Blues fans and the wider football community are right behind me in, again, just hitting home that message that we wish Tony Mowbray and his family nothing but the best during this, I'm sure, very challenging time. But please, we'd love to hear from you. Football is all about opinion, and we'd love to hear what you think about this. Blues fans, please leave us a comment below. If you like this content, don't forget to like the video and follow us on our brand new X and Instagram pages. But if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any future content. And me and Dad will see you on the next video.